A silly attempt at just doing a really simple kind of video. I've been uh, missing the odd day on doing these YouTube videos, and I want to keep up the flow. So this one's not live, but hey, I'm just going to go over something really valuable um, for the email show. Anyway, okay, so here's the bottom line. So I want to talk about. Ironically, this is probably one of the reasons that the um, email marketing show has been delayed a little bit. Is that I think it's because I didn't really have a great content calendar. So I'm going to discuss today is kind of a really high level overview. I'm not going to dive deep into showing you examples of some, although maybe I'll put some of those in the resource area at some point. But for today, I'm just going to talk about what a content calendar is, why I think it literally could save your business in a small way, but really make you not look like a sorry to use the word, like a loser, and tarnish your brand, and also how it could allow you to have some consistency. So, um, I think it's kind of obvious what a content calendar is. It's just basically planned out content. It's kind of like a savings account because obviously, if you plan it out on the days where you're sick or you're, you know, you need to hand it off to somebody else, or you're just feeling off and you can't think, and you're not feeling, uh, like you can uh, be creative that day. Obviously, you can just lean on that thing and that plan and be able to come up with something that's already been mapped out and ready to go. Um, let's talk about what is uh, what's in one. Um, Here's a bunch of different ideas. You can just read this here. There's promotions. There's based on the products. There's promotions based on the calendar, events, holidays. Cyber Monday, Black Friday, whatever. There's content-based ones like um, stories, studies, journalism. You could also put in there, some valuable stuff like, for example, the maybe it's educational material. There's also Seinfeld ones, which are basically where you talk about regular life. So that's a little hard to script, but you know, you can add those in there. Nurture emails, which are just kind of designed to sort of educate, and social proof, which is basically just throwing testimonials in there. How should you decide yours? Well, it totally depends because obviously, the stock market is totally different than say like the funeral market where they kind of only need the product once. There is um, timing, which obviously, every single one of them is totally different. Some you want to mail multiple times a day, others you might want to only do it weekly. Coaching clients, let's just kind of dive into the two niches I like to play in here. Um, oops. So here we go. So one of them is so for the coaching clients, I think that if you're scheduling out your emails, they should be emails that keep selling them on where you like to lead people, whether it's um, uh, what do they call that, financial security, or whether it's just health and wellness or whatever. Restating the pain of not solving the problems, and proving you know how to solve things. This is really big, and again, I know I keep coming back to stories because they are really powerful. Um, but proving you know how to solve something via a story, um, like if all you ever did was tell stories about, hey, so one day I had this client, we did this, this worked, blah blah blah. For the e-commerce clients, a little bit different. I like to keep the product under their nose, while at the same time show use cases of the product in action. Uh, One of my favorite e-commerce sites actually sends me fridge magnets of other people's car projects, which I think is totally cool. I think I've got like 3 of them, and I hope to get more as I need to order from them when I need the stuff. What else is there? Mix in daily and weekly Seinfelds, which again, those are the normal everyday life stuff. and try to add value whenever you can. But for the most part, it's all about keeping the product under their nose. So that's promotions, that's new releases, that's product updates, that's really focused that way. But stories and showing that showing use cases of the product in action is really handy too, because it kind of adds that sort of personality and personalness, if that's a word, to the communication. So, anyways, this was really meant to be quick, just a quick 5-minute thing here. So, not getting deep, but if you're an information seller, it's really important to constantly show what happens if they don't solve the thing, or learn the technique or skill or thing, and constantly show examples of how one time you were in the same boat as them, and then you did this, and then you did that, and you got a result. And lastly, of course, with the e-commerce people that are my other favorite people, mainly because, I mean, these businesses, you literally have a buyer's list of people who have invested money in something. 90% of e-commerce lists are just past customers. And convincing somebody to buy is the hardest part of business. And once you've convinced somebody to buy and they got a good experience, which we hope we're all building businesses where people get good experiences, it's not hard for them to repeat that. So it's the best list on earth is a buyer's list. So anyway, so yeah, long story short, this is the gist of a content calendar. Now you'd actually have to put it into a system. Again, if you're teaching information once a week, twice max. If you're in an e-commerce world, man, you could be mailing them 2 or 3 times a day, depending. But you can mail a lot because there's automations, there's what I call cart abandons. There's all kinds of different reasons to mail them, and even in some cases, multiple times a day, like at the beginning of Boxing Day or the end of Boxing Day, or a product announcement in the morning and an update of something in the evening. Like, it can really be pretty crazy if it's a passionate product that people like to hear lots of stuff about. Anyways, yeah. So bottom line, you need one so that you don't wind into the rut that I found, where I just hadn't done an update in a while. These are the kind of things you can shove in one, and this is kind of the rough idea of how you should put your noodle on, where you're going to fit everything in the calendar. I'm sure people are going to message me and be like, hey, well, what day of the week? And truthfully, it's all niche based. I mean, I've seen businesses where Mondays were hot. I've seen businesses where Fridays are hot, or Saturday night in the pastoral niche. Saturday night's when the cram happens for the Sunday morning service. So it totally depends on who your customer is, what their buying cycle looks like, of when they find that they realize they need the product, and all of that. So anyway, that's it for today.